Hey, welcome back to Slow Roll. I'm back from holiday. I got another Vivid Voltage deck profile for you, baby. Got maybe the poster boy of the Vivid Voltage set, to be honest with you. It really isn't saying much for us players, but Pikachu VMAX. It's a card where, on face value, it's not completely overwhelming, but I love greens decks, and I feel as if there could be a way to play this with greens that's actually pretty good, and it's been testing really well. So let's have a look. Right then, so let's get involved. Pikachu VMAX, big scary geezer. I say big scary geezer, 310 HP. No, it's actually not that big anymore. But Pikachu VMAX, have a look. VMAX Pokemon, 310 HP, which is slightly on the low side. With one attack for 3 lightnings, G Max Volt Tackle, 120 plus. You may discard all energy attached from this Pokemon. If you do, you do 150 more. So you can do 120 for free. Which is actually a attack we'll be using a lot in this deck to help bring everything into range. But then you may choose to discard all energy from this Pokemon. If you do, you can do 150 more. So that takes you up to 270. 270 is not bad. It deletes almost all tag teams from play outside of ADP, which is really annoying, to be honest with you. And I guess if you just play like an ability-based version, you can easily just like, drop a Zigzagoon or attach a vitality band, but we have other damage modifiers in here that we'll get onto a little bit later. So against all tag teams we're fine, and against other VMAXs, what we're going to do, we have some sneaky damage modifiers, but we're going to basically tap them for 120. And what that essentially means is, provided they can't one-shot us back, we're basically saying we will not queue out next turn. It's that simple. And I guess in that regards, actually not too bad. Like, if you can get this, you can get the 120 in first. You force your opponent to either heal it off, or you are going to slap them. Worth noting as well, that the Pikachu V is actually fairly decent. With the charge attack, I actually gave this card a little bit of a ribbing in a video the other day. Not too long. Let's go a bit more vertical. There we go. So that look this Pikachu V. So 190 HP, which is super low. We all know this. But that charge attack actually isn't too bad. And because we're a greens deck, we'll be opting to go second. So if we can pull off this charge, it actually takes the pressure for us a lot. Charge, search your deck for up to 2 lightning energy cards and attach them to this Pokemon and shuffle your deck afterwards. That's not too bad. So you can see you can attach 2 more with charge, and bang, you can just evolve and not really have to set a lot of stuff up and do a 270. That's a fairly easy 270. The only scary thing is, are we actually reliably going to get off that 190? I mean, are we actually going to survive into our next turn? That's a scary thing, but we do have some ways of punishing our opponent if they do decide to take that KO, which will bring a Pikachu VMAX in to get a KO next turn. So I've been talking a lot about these damage modifiers. Let's actually have a look at it. So we are playing 4 Giant Bomb. Okay, now I was messing about with this. I was messing about with Rocky Helmet, and I think if you're going to like Rocky Helmet route, you probably have to play an ability version with Zigzagoon, because the extra 3 they take isn't really enough, I should say. Or maybe even Rocky Helmet Roxy's, right? I think Giant Bomb works really good in the greens deck though, just because we can greens them out when we want. In case you don't know what Giant Bomb does, thinking about it, it's a tool card. If the Pokemon this card's attached to takes 180 damage or more, you put 10 damage counters back on your opponent's active Pokemon. So here's the plan. So we're up to go second, right? We're a greens deck. We charge onto the active Pikachu V whilst getting down a Voltorb. I'll get into Electrode later, right? So we charge onto this Pikachu V. Our opponent's down in a tough spot, right? Because if they take the KO, because Pikachu V has 190 HP, they have to pop the Giant Bomb, which means I have 10 damage counters on them. Or they leave us alone, or like dink us a little bit, not activate Giant Bomb, in which case we survive, we evolve, do 270. That's the idea, right? So the Giant Bomb's going to make our opponent play around us nicely whilst getting the extra damage we need, because obviously with VMAXs, if they take the 100, bang, we hit them for 270. That's pretty much all VMAXs outside of Colossal VMAX just ejected from the game. Right, so Shay, you just said though, even if they take the KO on our active V with 3 energy on, that we can still respond on them next turn. How are you doing that? I'll show you, because there's another really good card in Vivid Voltage for Pikachu VMAX, and that's just Electrode. Let's have a little look at him. So we got Electrode. Did I say Electrode VMAX? I didn't mean to say that. Electrode, stage 1 Pokemon, 90 HP, with this awesome ability, Bazap Generator. Once during the turn, if this Pokemon's on your bench, it has to be on the bench, you can't do it from the active. You can search your deck for up to 2 electric energy and attach them to your electric Pokemon any way you like. Then shuffle your deck. If you attach any energy in this way, this Pokemon's knocked out. So knocking itself out is a bit annoying. But because we're a free prize predominant deck, right? It means that we can use 2 Electrodes in the game, and our opponent still has to knock out 2 Pikachu VMAX, right? Because it doesn't really matter. So in that sense, it's pretty good. It also means we can get really naughty with stamps, that we can green out, make our stamps really aggressive. So here's a scenario, right? So we've led turn 2 going second. We've charged, put 3 energy on with the giant bomb. Our opponent knocks us out. They take 10 damage back. Provided we have another Pikachu V down, which is why we play 4. We can evolve into the next Pikachu VMAX. We can evolve the bench Pikachu, sorry, into the Pikachu VMAX. Use Bazap Generator, attach one more, bang, 270. And we have just took out probably the only threat in play, because if our opponent really wants to go all in on that turn 2 KO on a Pikachu V, chances are they might not have energy attached. Think about Eternatus, they have to attach 1 per turn. And that's going to bring the favor right back into us. Because we're electric deck, we can play stuff like Tapu Koko, which I think is this one. Hey! So we don't actually need to be super reliant on the Electro, which is really nice for this archetype. We don't have to blow up 2 Electrodes every game, all game. But it's a really cool option to have, being able to just effectively get to 3 energy on your Pokemon in 1 turn, right? Because you can just Bazap Generator, attach, and all our attackers attack for 3 energy. So really cool combo, and it's what actually keeps this Pikachu VMAX on the cusp of being competitive, in my opinion, because you can just throw 3 energy down, and it's really cool. So have a look at what other attackers we've got. Oh, worth noting though, if you lead Tapu Koko, you are in trouble because it's got an ability, but it's not too bad because you can, provided you can get the Koko back onto the bench, you can just use Dance of the Ancients. So try not to lead him. We do play 1 Raichu and a Alolan Raichu GX. Reason being, it's another 3 prizer, but what I really like this Raichu is once our first Pikachu VMAX has gone down, we can, provided we've used like a Bazap Generator or whatever, we can really get aggressive with our stamps now. And if we can combine Stamp plus a Tandem Shock, we put our opponent under immense a lot of pressure. We also play Power Plant in here as well to turn off the Dene. So we can, this is like our sort of combat card, right? Tandem Shot for 3 energy, 80 plus 80 if this Pokemon started to turn your bench and became inactive. It's also paralyze your opponent if that happens. So we can paralyze, do 160, stamp them to 2 with a Power Plant and just say, right, deal with that. And in that scenario, then we can start setting up another Pikachu V with Electros for the following turn. So this has been really cool and clutch card in this deck. Now, this next card you have to sort of be really careful about using, because if we use 2 Electros, you really can't use any other attackers apart from 3 prizes. But if you've been really, calculated with your 3 prizes, you might be able to use this card to seal a game. And that's the new Zapdos. What basic Pokemon, 110 HP with the attack Snipe Thunder. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 160 to one of your opponent's GX, EX, or well, GX or V, I should say, not EX. So this provides us with a few things. Number 1, it's a Dene Slayer, right? We all know that. If you want to put a long view scope in here to make the Zapdos even stronger, I'm not really against that at all. Then you can one-shot Crobats on the bench as well. But what this also lets you do is if you miss a KO with G-Max Volt Tackle, you can clean it up later. Really strong. 160 for 3 is pretty strong indeed. So we are a greens deck, so we're going to be nice and reliant on this fine supporter, one of my favorite supporter engines of all time. 4 greens exploration. As long as you've got no Pokemon in play of abilities, you can search your deck for 2 trainer cards, put them in your hand. So it's going to search out our Giant Bomb, search out Evo Incense, search out Quick Ball, search out our Power Plants, which are these 2 here. There we go. Search out all that. It just keeps us ticking over really nicely, to be honest. Think of it like a Center Scorch S-type deck or a Green Speaker one. It's just nice, and it just works. 2 Boss's Orders. Just, we don't really need to Boss's Orders too much. And, it's the same sort of numbers of Green Center Scorch and all that good stuff. So, yeah, Boss's Orders. Pretty cool. No, we don't actually need to boss his orders the Dene, because we've got Zapdos to kill him, you know what I mean? 2 Mallow Lana. And the idea about this Mallow Lana is or these Malalans I should say, is if our opponent doesn't want to ever hit into our giant bomb, they're going to just dink us, you know, for like 180 downwards, or 170 down I should say. Malalan just, you know, removes that and just says, you know what I mean, do some big boy damage next time, you know what I mean, G-Max tackle 270. So Malalan is pretty cool for this. And then one Sylvia Caitlyn to keep us ticking over, to get back greens, get back bosses, get back Malalan. I wouldn't mind a second in all honesty, but space. You know what I mean? Space. It's annoying, isn't it, having to play 60 cards sometimes. 4 Pokegear, just so we can find our greens a lot easier, or bosses or anything like this. We got already mentioned the 4 giant bombs. Now, it's worth noting you could go down to 3 giant bomb. And that'll give you some flex spots, maybe like a second Cynthia Caitlyn, another boss, or a Winden Stadium, which is actually a card which I've really considered here for the longest time. I've used it in a couple of my lists, but I didn't really find myself using it all that often. It's a bit too situational. But what Winden Stadium lets you do, similar to a Malolana, if you charge turn 2, you've got a giant bomb attached, your opponent might not want to pop the giant bomb because obviously they know they're going to put themselves in a G-Max Volt Tackle range. So they might just dink you for like 50, 60, 70, up to 100, you know, up to 170. And what Winden Stadium lets you do is when you evolve a V into a VMAX, you can heal 100 damage off that Pokemon. So it's almost like using a Malolana on that active Pikachu for that turn. And in that regard, it's really, really strong if you can get to pull it off. And granted, because it's green, you can just pluck it out of the deck. But it's way too situational for me. But, you know, in all honesty, greens decks are the decks where you can play the most situational cards. So if you want to play that for that exact reason, it's not too bad. Give it a try. When it does work, it's really strong for sure. Let's see, what are these? There's going to be some quick balls. Now, this might be a little bit higher than your normal greens deck, but the reason is we have to find Voltorbs. We've got to find Tapu Koko on the turn, and we try and want to get down 2 Pikachu Vs turn 1 if we can, so we need as many ball search cards for that, or quick balls for that, I should say. 3 Evolution Incense. These obviously find our VMAX and find our Electro, so they're pretty gnarly. 2 Switch, just so we can obviously, you know, use the Raichu. And, you know, maneuver stuff out the active if needed. Because we don't need a super high count. We just greens them out when we need them. 2 reset stamp. Like I said, this is a very good comeback deck for sure. Stamp plus plant plus Raichu is an insane killer combination. And then you can like go into a lightning ride after that, you know. Just scary stuff. Stamp's really cool, especially if you just greens them out at will. 1 energy spinner, just because we play green, so greens essentially can find us energy, which is pretty cool. We're not actually playing Gus Hallow in here. Take the energy spinner instead. And then 1 U-turn ball. We can slap this on like a Voltorb to have pivots for the whole game, so we can activate our Raichu, or we can put it on our Zapdos. But like I said, be careful about benching out Zapdos, fellas. We play 3 speed energy, and this is the reason why we're not playing like 2 Professor's Research like most greens decks would. Being a little bit cheeky, I'm saying we can get supplemental draw from our speed energies. But because we are playing speed energy, like I said, Gus Hallow was like the 61st, 62nd card, because it obviously finds you giant bomb, finds speed energy, you know, and it can find you your power plant or Winden Stadium. But for now, I don't think it's free. That's because we played a total of 9 basic lightning energy. A little bit on the lower side. I wouldn't mind a couple more, but again, space. So yeah, let me know what you think of Pikachu VMAX. Let me just zoom out a little bit more to see the full list. There we go. So yeah, let me know what you think about Pikachu VMAX. I actually think it could be like tier 2. I don't think it's going to be tier 1 ever. Get a green star. It's been testing pretty well, to be honest with you. So I could see it maybe tier 3, tier 2 at the highest. But, you know, it's a big chunky boy, the poster boy of the set. So, you know, if you pull these guys, you want to play them online, then here's a list for you to get started, baby. Jeez. If you have the more Vivid Voltage deck profiles and content, make sure you smash that subscribe button and check that playlist out in the description. I've been putting out almost a video a day for some Vivid Voltage stuff for you, okay? But thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.